Hi, I'm Lisa and I now have a sewing cafe, Sew Over It. I've been sewing since the age of 11 and I've always loved it. It's always been my hobby and my passion, and I've now turned that into a business, so I feel like I'm the luckiest person alive. And the sewing cafe's been open for over a year now. We opened in May 2011 and we offer loads of different classes, so 25 different classes or more I think now, in things from dressmaking to accessories, stuff for the home, lots of bits and bobs, and for all different levels. The Sewing Cafe has an area upstairs where you can just come in and pay £5 an hour and use the space and the machines. And then we've got a little shop with lots of kits and patterns and fabrics and bits and bobs. And then downstairs is where we teach the classes. I've been sewing since the age of 11, and to be honest I can't actually remember not sewing. Trying to work out when I started sewing was quite difficult, but that's when I got my first sewing machine. Before that I used to spend my time with my childminder, Mrs. Robinson, sewing after school. I was one of the only girl in my year at primary school, so it was me and 7 boys. So as a result I often used to come home after school and I would sew with Mrs. Robinson and absolutely loved it. And it sounds quite sad, but I think sewing was a bit like a little friend for me, and I'd spend hours in my bedroom sewing things. And that kind of followed through into my teens when I became more interested in fashion, and sewing was the perfect craft to have if you're interested in fashion. And through that I carried on with my sewing and obviously started a degree and then worked in fashion and couture and made wedding dresses and all sorts of lovely things before opening the cafe. So the book is a bit like an extension of the Sewing Cafe. I've tried to put all my passion and inspiration into the book, and it's basically aimed for beginners, but there's also projects in there that someone who can already sew will also find interesting to make. There's 4 chapters. The first one is customising, so showing you how you can change your clothes that you have already, perfect for recession budgets because we've all got wardrobes that we're probably tired and sick of, and I'm showing you ways you can reinvent your clothes so you can love them again. So we're using lace motifs and buttons and ribbons and all sorts of lovely bits and bobs to put on the clothes. And then we've got how to alter your clothes, so more of a practical chapter on how to take up hems, remove sleeves, add box pleats to hems, lots of different things in there. And then the last 2 chapters, the first one's on accessories, so making items from scratch, from earrings and brooches, and also necklaces, belts, things like that. And then the last section is a Challenge Me chapter where we've got 3 complete skirt projects, one of which is inspired by the Carrie Bradshaw. I am a Sex and the City fan. Am I allowed to say that? And then there is also a bag with a plaited strap. So there's things to kind of take your sewing up to a higher level throughout the book. And there's also dotted in lots of techniques and tips of where I go fabric shopping, what I think about when I'm doing that, tips on the sewing machine, and demonstrations and picture step-by-steps on how to do certain stitches.